In this video, I directly asked Nelson Nash, the author of Becoming Your Own Banker and the creator of the infinite banking concept, what is infinite banking? And in Nelson's words, he explains what is infinite banking. And he also talks about why rate of return should not be a sole focus, or even we should pay attention at all as it relates to the infinite banking concept. I sat down with Nelson and aired this interview on our podcast in 2018. And this is a way for us to preserve his legacy because now he is no longer with us, but his books have sold over 400,000 copies and has created such an impact as it relates to what is infinite banking. And so if you want to learn more about his book, or if you just want to learn more about infinite banking, if you want to learn more about life insurance and see your numbers, we have links and resources down below. We as a company would love to help you take back control of your wealth using this strategy. And so without further ado, here's Nelson in his own words. So for the listeners on this podcast that they get the concept, they understand, okay, banking is the most profitable business in the world. We finance everything that we purchase. We need to start taking the headwinds in our life and turning it into tailwinds.
Sure.
We have to beat the human elements that are taking us behind. We have to take control of our life.
Sure.
Then you kind of get into some things that kind of are controversial. By the way, when I first started in this business, I hated the idea of life insurance. And it was because of your book that totally changed my...
Well, why did you hate it?
Because I thought it was a terrible place to put your money.
Where did you learn that?
In financial planning 101.
Yeah. Yes.
That life insurance was our need for death benefit. So for the listeners, this is what the infinite banking concept is at its basic form, and then I want you to kind of take over, okay, and explain more. So you have your money. Your money's got to flow somewhere.
Yes.
The very best place for it to flow is dividend-paying whole life insurance.
It's always at work there.
And I want you to explain that for a second.
It's always at work there.
Your money is in these dividend-paying contracts. They're going to grow the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But your need for finance is your greatest financial need, and so you borrow against those policies to go purchase the things in your life.
Sure.
And then redirect the money that you were paying to other institutions and repay that back to the insurance company. Can you explain why life insurance and why that concept is so revolutionary and can change people's lives?
It's the only place that performs ideally for this sort of thing. Well, you can put money in a hole in the ground, not in the backyard, so forth, and you can go get money out of that, buy something, and then pay back to the hole in the ground. But look, the time that it was in the ground, how much is it earning, huh?
Zero.
Well, in life insurance, it's always at work, either with you or with somebody else out there. It's not something sitting there in a lockbox of any kind of whatever. People don't realize that in reality that this concept is like a trust agreement. People love the idea of trust and so forth, and one of our practitioners visualized this several years ago. He says, this is just like a trust, isn't it? Yes. He says you have a grantor, you have a trustee, and you have a beneficiary. Now, the trust did not exist until the grantor created it. He was the originator of everything. All right, so he puts property into the trust. It becomes the owner becomes... The owner is the trustee at that point. The grantor does not own it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, the trustee has got to put it to work in order to carry out the provisions of the intent of the trust for the beneficiary or the grantor. Now, one of the places he can put the property to work is with the grantor.
Right.
They're two different people. Now, when you understand that, when you buy a life insurance policy, that did not exist until you created it.
Right.
You're the grantor. You pay premiums.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes the property of the insurance company, the trustee. They're going to put it to work in various and sundry places, as I describe in my book. Now, one of those places they can put to work is with you.
Right.
You see, you got to learn to wear two hats. You're the banker, and your best customer would be you.
Correct.
But you got to understand, don't steal from the system.
Right.
If you don't lend money to somebody who's going to not pay it back.
Mm-hmm.
But see, that's one of the biggest problems out there, that people got this disease of thinking this is a poor place to store money, the medium of exchange, during your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And getting over that hurdle is the biggest problem.
Right.
Well, it's so simple that it's almost ridiculous. But you see, there are people who do catch on out there, but they got to realize they have a problem.
Right.
They got to wanna.
Yep.
And we're looking for people that know they have a problem and they want to find a way out. It's like Jesus Christ asked that guy that sitting beside the pool all those years, and the deal was that the first one in the pool got cured, and he'd been there for years and years and years, and somebody always beat him to the pool and so forth. Woe is me.
Right.
Jesus comes along and said, "Hey, boy, what's the matter?"
Right.
Do you want to get well? Well, get up.
Right. Right. Yeah, I definitely think it's this idea that you need to know that you have a problem.
Yes.
And I'm going to say something that I tell to a lot of my clients, and tell me if I'm accurate here. It's whether you're an investor, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a family, whether, the list goes on and on. Everyone has a need, whether it's to invest money, whether it's to buy cars, whether it's to invest in their business or maybe buy a real estate property or whatever. And the infinite banking concept literally shows them a better way to do what they're currently doing.
Sure.
It's and you have a chapter in your book about, it's not about the rate of return. That's noise. You want to talk a little bit about noise, because that's one.
Well, that's the thing out there. You get the doctors together at the doctor's lounge. You get the businessmen together at the country club with his friends and so forth. And say, let's talk about something financial. And I guarantee you that they'll end up talking about getting a high rate of return on whatever. And that's not what it's about at all.
It's not what it's about.
What it's about is who is the banker in your life.
Right.
And the very simple thing is that don't be afraid. Okay, first of all, you got to learn to think long range.
Yes.
Yeah. This earthly existence is training camp for the eternal. It's not just a day-to-day activity out there, and that's it. This is a lifetime of learning how to put first things first, your relationship with the Maker.
Yep.
Now, think long range. Don't be afraid to capitalize. Good grief. Anybody knows that the more capital you put into a business, the stronger it is. Mm-hmm. But you see, most people want to put a little bit into and get the highest rate of return on that little bit of
it's all backwards.
Capital. Well, that's absurd.
Yep.
Well, that's faulty thinking. All right. Now, the next thing is that when you start using your system there to get rid of the banks, i.e. do business with yourself rather than banks out there, you got to make sure that you pay the loans back and so forth. And the last item is that you got to rethink your thinking as time goes by, that this is a work in progress. And as time goes by, you'll see things that you never saw before. Well, they were always there, but good grief. We don't think of everything at one time. This is not a pill that you take and that's all over, and I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Right. My reading list got 10 times bigger since this morning, thanks to you.
Well, if you read all those books on my website there's about, I think it's 380 books, I believe. Anyway, you get through reading all those, and you have one PhD in Austrian economics, one PhD in history. There is no way that you can study economics without studying history and see the foolish things that people have done down through the years.
Right.
And mostly it is the faulty thinking has resulted in wars.
Right.
That's what statism is all about.
Right.
The converse is true with free contract with other free people, because both parties win in a transaction.